Ready to pass the CPA exam faster? Visit cpapass.ai. Today, which CPA exam section to take first? Difficulty rankings. You are staring at the CPA exam registration page, credit card in hand, completely paralyzed. Do you start with the monster that is far, or do you ease in with the discipline? In 2024, the AI CPA completely changed the game by splitting the exam into core and discipline sections. Pick the wrong section first, and you risk triggering your 18-month clock on a section you struggle with, or worse, failing your first attempt and losing all motivation. Today, we are breaking down the exact strategy to choose your first section based on your background, difficulty rankings, and pass rates. Before you pick, you must understand what you are actually facing. The CPA exam now requires you to pass 3 core sections: financial accounting and reporting, auditing and attestation, and regulation, plus you must pass one of 3 discipline sections: tax compliance and planning, business analysis and reporting, or information systems and controls. This means you have choices. You cannot just follow the old advice of always taking FAR first. We need to align your core choice with your discipline choice to save hundreds of hours of redundant studying. Let's look at how these sections actually connect. Let's rank the core sections by difficulty. Historically, FAR is considered the hardest due to sheer volume, requiring over 150 hours of study. However, AUD has the lowest pass rate, often hovering around 48%, because it tests subjective, higher level evaluation skills rather than math. Reg sits in the middle, requiring intense memorization of tax law. If you are fresh out of school with strong financial accounting grades, FAR is your best starting point. If you're working in tax, Reg is the obvious choice. Never pick a section based solely on what online forums say is easy. The first strategy is the path of least resistance. You start with your strongest subject to build momentum. If you work in audit, take AUD first. Why? Because you already understand the terminology. You will save 50 study hours just by skipping the basic conceptual learning phase. Passing your first exam on the first try is a massive psychological win. It proves to you that your study system actually works. If you start with your weakest area and fail, you are highly likely to burn out and quit the entire journey. Protect your mindset early. The second strategy is the path to growth, which means tackling FAR first. FAR is the foundation of accounting. The concepts you learn in FAR, like revenue recognition and leases, will bleed into AUD and the bar discipline. If you pass FAR first, you get the hardest, most time-consuming exam out of the way before your 18-month clock even begins. Yes, it requires 20 hours of studying per week for 8 to 10 weeks, but once FAR is down, the psychological weight lifted off your shoulders is massive. It makes every subsequent section feel completely manageable. Do not treat your discipline exam as an isolated test. You must pair it strategically. If you choose BAR, you should take FAR first, because BAR is essentially FAR on steroids. If you choose TCP, take REG first, because TCP dives deeper into individual and corporate tax. If you choose ISC, take AUD first, as ISC focuses heavily on IT controls and systems auditing. If you take the corresponding core exam first, the material will be fresh in your mind, allowing you to study for the discipline exam in just 4 to 6 weeks instead of 10. Whichever section you choose first, you must avoid the rote memorization trap. Do not spend weeks passively reading the textbook or highlighting pages. That is how candidates fail. Instead, use a problem-first approach. Start your study session by jumping straight into 30 multiple-choice questions. Even if you do not know the material, guessing teaches your brain to recognize the patterns and traps. Spend your time analyzing the explanations for the questions you got wrong. Aim for a 75% average on your practice sets before moving on to task-based simulations. Let's talk about the 18-month clock trap. The moment you pass your first section, a timer starts. You must pass the remaining 3 sections within 18 months, though some states are extending this to 30 months. If you start with an easy section and pass, but then spend 12 months failing FAR, your first credit will expire. This is why planning your timeline is critical. Map out your exam dates before you schedule your first test. Give yourself a buffer of at least 2 months for potential retakes so you never lose a passed section. Choosing your first CPA exam section is all about strategy, but the best strategy is useless without the right tools. Stop guessing and start practicing. Head over to cpapass.ai right now. You can join a community of dedicated CPA candidates, practice over 20,000 multiple choice questions and task-based simulations, and take full-length mock exams to drill your weak areas. You can start completely free with free questions every single day with no credit card required. Don't let decision paralysis hold you back. Go to cpapass.ai, choose your first section, and start studying today.